Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. I'm Jeanne Francine. As we continue with your top stories and headlines this Monday morning, want to give you a live look out in Cajun country, the Big Easy, and you can see Caesars Superdome there in the distance as people are waking up on the heels of the Super Bowl last night. I want to show you some footage of what the excitement was as football's biggest night now over. The Philadelphia Eagles reigning supreme over Super Bowl 59. But for those who want to join in on the fun or who want to stay clear of the celebrations, Fox News' Sue Guzman gives us a closer look at the science behind how to identify fans of a winning sports team.
It's official. With a score of 40-22, the Philadelphia Eagles cemented victory over the Kansas City Chiefs to become the Super Bowl 59 champions. The Eagles winning their second Super Bowl title, crushing the Chiefs' hopes of a third straight historic Super Bowl win.
Couldn't be here without my teammates. You know, the effort, the determination everybody displayed to get to this point.
But while Eagles teammates are flying high, so are their flocks of fans. If you're looking for like-minded people to revel in the victory, or if you want to avoid Eagles fans because you're mourning the Chiefs, researchers say there's an easy way to identify fans of a winning team.
Those fans are likely going to wear their apparel if their team won. This is a concept we call basking in reflected glory, or burging.
The term basking in reflected glory was coined by psychologist Dr. Robert Cialdini. Researchers at Ohio State University replicating one of his studies involving college sports fans and the team merchandise worn after a big game.
What we found is students were 50% more likely to wear their team's apparel after a win. On the other hand, they were 55% less likely to wear their school's apparel after a loss. Cialdini's initial study and our replication were both done on college campuses, but you could easily argue the same holds true for fans of the NFL.
Being decked out in a winning team's jerseys and colors can also trigger happiness among fans.
People want to feel good about themselves. They want to be associated with winners. It's all about self-esteem enhancement.
Eagles fans will also get a chance to continue the celebrations during the team's upcoming Super Bowl parade. Sue Guzman, Fox News.
Sue, thank you so much joining us live this morning to further discuss all of the highlights of the Super Bowl. Consumer strategist Lisa Miller. Lisa, good morning to you. Basking in reflective glory. That's what it's called for those Philadelphia Eagles fans waking up happy they got the W this morning.
Without a doubt. And while I live in Dallas, I had to cheer for the NFC, so I have my green on today.
Yeah, I think I was right there with you. I'm a Titans fan being from Memphis, Tennessee, but I was going for the Eagles last night. I can officially say that now that the game is over, right? Couldn't say that when we spoke this weekend. But hey, let's get to what other people are basking in this morning. The commercials, the ads, they are discussing it on X and in the office this morning, speaking with coworkers. What were the commercials that stood out during Super Bowl 59? I'll let you take it away, Lisa.
Well, there's always definitely this amazing variety of commercials. And as we talked about the other day, it is the Super Bowl for marketers. And what you can do is kind of break it out into a couple themes, whether that's kind of the funny commercials, the nostalgia commercials, or just kind of these powerful messages. So I'll break it down. So the first thing is we actually had Instacart and Uber Eats both doing commercials. Instacart, they actually kind of went through this memory lane. You know, they had the Kool-Aid guy and they had Mr. Clean and Energizer Bunny, and they were all flying in the sky. And so it was kind of a fun nostalgia way to their first commercial for Instacart. And then on the other side, we had Uber Eats, which was also kind of a funny nostalgia, but in a very different way, which was with Matthew McConaughey. So it was kind of a century of eating. And so it was kind of fun when you watch that one. But then the other kind of theme was around this, empowerment. And I have to say the Nike commercial, Janae, was one of my favorites, where you had Caitlin Clark, Sha'Carri Richardson, and it was this idea of women can't win, and it was all about women winning. So yeah. I thought that was one of my favorite. And then Dove always does a great job, and they had a little girl running, and she was running, and it basically says by 3 years old, and by 14 years old, she's quit sports because somebody said something about her body. Yeah. And so there's just a good variety of ads.
I will say empowerment seemed to be a theme that I recognized as well, even before the Super Bowl started. Brad Pitt, he had that segment where he was talking about the huddle and what the huddle represents for not only the teams in the NFL, but, the camaraderie of what the Super Bowl represents, coming around the kitchen table, sitting in the living room with your loved ones. And then we saw that also with the commercial about the flag football, in a sense, if you want to look at it in that way, for women empowerment when it comes to sports. Will that actually happen? We don't know. And then even the camaraderie, the huddle aspect with boy beating cancer as he ran through the streets with his boxing gloves. It was sponsored by Pfizer, but the overall theme, beating cancer, coming together, supporting someone going through that. I also had a few laughs, I will say, Lisa. The Dunkin' commercial where they kind of took a hit at Starbucks. They didn't say Starbucks, obviously they can't, but you could tell with the green. I feel like I'm guilty. I'm that person who's like, half white chocolate mocha, half caramel, half this, half that. Like, it's candy in a cup, right? It's not even coffee anymore.
Well, but the funny thing is that, yeah, that was one of my fun ones too, which was, the Dunkin', with Ben Affleck, and they were missing Matt Damon because he was in a different commercial this year. But yeah, they had fun poking at the green jackets and, kind of this innocuous logo that looked a little bit like a Starbucks logo. But it was funny with Jeremy Strong. He was percolating or marinating in the coffee beans. And so that was actually a pretty funny one as well. But then the Hellmann's mayonnaise that was kind of retrospective with Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan, that was actually pretty funny as well, where it, again, just kind of playing off if you knew that scene. And then they had Shonda Sweeney do the little line at the end. So there was definitely a huge group of it. But then there also was this thing with facial hair because we had the Pringles mustache commercial. And then the Little Caesars commercial with the eyebrows floating off. And so I think, that was kind of funny that there was this multiple facial hair kind of thing. Then I think the other kind of battle was between the AI when you had the Google AI commercials. And honestly, I have to tell you, even though that was focusing around dad, it was, for those of you that might have missed that one, it was about basically Google AI and a job resume. And the dad was talking about what's the best job. And it was him raising his daughter. And so that one really pulls on the heartstrings. Opposite of that was OpenAI's first ad. And theirs was, I thought, very creative because it looked like one of those. Do you remember when you were a kid, the little toy that had the pens that you could make the designs with, and then you shake it and you make another design?
Yeah. Are you talking about the one with the little cogwheels at the bottom? Or are you talking about the ones that light up?
Needles, like the little needles, and you push it and
that light up when you turn. Yes, I know exactly what you're discussing.
Yeah. And so it was like a lot of dots, but it was turning into all these different environments. And I thought it was pretty cool and it was techy, but I think the Google AI one definitely pulled the heartstrings. So I think that one people might remember a little bit more, but it's always so fun. I liked watching the game, but I love watching the commercials.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And then of course, going back and forth to the kitchen to get all of the dips and the chicken wings and the snacks. That's also my favorite part, if I'm being honest. Well, Lisa, always a pleasure. Thank you for this recap. Before I let you go, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about that seal commercial. You talk about creativity. Did you like it, or were you kind of like, okay, what is this?
Well, it was funny because honestly, Janae, that commercial, I actually had the opportunity to go to Alaska a couple years ago, and that shot totally reminded me of that. And then I was kind of thinking, what is going on there? I thought it was funny, and I think it was kind of memorable, but it was definitely funny in a weird way. But I think people will remember it. And I think it was interesting that they did have him they had Seal sitting in the boat at the end. So I thought that was a kind of a cute way to put the button on it. I did also like the Doritos commercial with the tug of war with the alien, trying to pull the Doritos away from him. So there were some good laughs for sure.
Consumer strategist Lisa Miller, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us on the heels of the Philadelphia Eagles coming out on top of Super Bowl 59. I hope you have a great rest of your Monday.
Thank you so much, Janae. Have a good one.
Thank you. Thank you so much.